Salutations. Thank you for joining me. We are approaching the last day of November 2023, according to the Western calendar. I think 1429, according to the Eastern calendar. That's probably wrong. Feel free to correct me on that one. Yeah, well, thanks for joining us, Reviving Real News, brother. Glad you could make it.
Hope you are good shining.
Yeah, it's good to see you. I wanted to talk about loneliness again. Loneliness, guys are lonely. Guys, still, well, to be fair, I do get a bit lonely sometimes, but that's what I wanted to talk about today. My little monologue before we have a look at this excellent British game. A game for MA, SFM. Yeah, God bless you, Reviving Real News. God bless you. So anyway, well, what I'm about to say will sound strange at first, but the more I talk, the more sense it's going to make. And the more sense I make, the more you're going to appreciate why I've said it and why it's relevant to you listening to it right now. So you might think, why if I'm going to talk about loneliness, why have I titled this Gratitude, Appreciation and Thankfulness?
Hello, brother.
And blessing. It's Guru the Ghost. Long time, brother. Peace. Peace and the blessings of God upon you, Guru the Ghost. Long time, yes. It's a privilege and a pleasure to be addressing you, Reviving Real News and Guru the Ghost. My brothers in humanity, my brothers in the manosphere, all round. So, gratitude, appreciation, thankfulness. It's
in the house.
It's something that came up. Those of you that watched SFM, MA, and RP this week, excellent cast, possibly one of their best. It was not only insightful, informative, but also entertaining and quite funny, which is very difficult to pull off, but having the talents.
Together we shall rise above the evil.
Amen, brother, amen. Rise above the evil, I say. But yeah, anyway, having the talents of SFM, MA and RP, of course you're going to get a quality cast there already. I miss Mortify. I don't know what's happened to him. I hope he'll rejoin them at some point, but definitely a man's man podcast, definitely. After watching social media, which I have to add, I have to watch if I'm going to teach my youth how to market and do business on social media. I have to myself know how to deal and follow the trends on social media. So anyway, it's cliche. It's cliche. You guys are already starting to get a sense of where I'm going to go with this, but we'll start with the cliche that you don't know what you have until it's gone. So what does that have to do with loneliness? And we all suffer from loneliness, believe me. I have loneliness, but I don't suffer from loneliness. And I'm going to explain to you all why. And I think after I said it, you're all going to appreciate exactly the thought process and actually why it's a very good quality for a modern man, especially men in our circles, especially in this era. It's a quality that every man must have. So we've all heard the cliche, you don't know what you have until it's gone. Yes. So for example, the youth, they waste their early years and they don't realise all the things they could have taken advantage of while they were young, while they were fit, while they were fresh until they get old and they start participating, or they engage in the activities and the plans that they wanted to do or they should have done in their youth, and now they're a bit older, it's a bit more difficult to do the things that the youth take for granted. And of course we know that wealth can be taken for granted. Often when you've got a lot of money, we think of the rich as wasteful, as ungrateful, as obviously we're generalizing, but you know the point that when the poor get a lot of money, that they'll spend the money more frugally, perhaps, but more cautiously. They'll spend it with a lot more consideration for their lifelong plans. But in practice, and those of you that have perhaps known people that were destitute and then came into money, or even yourself, you might have had lean times, and then you might have had times where you've had plentiful. It's sounding like a Bible one now, isn't it? In practice, what we see is when poor people are coming to money, they do spend it on their needs and they do spend it on a few luxuries, but what you'll notice is a lot of poor people will give a lot of their money to the less fortunate. For example, in charity.
Single men choosing to be.
Yeah, I'll address that in a minute. Arriving new news, real news. You'll see where I'm going with this. So with the poor people, when they're coming to money, they're a lot more charitable. It's well known that in terms of comparison, in terms of ratio, that the poor give a lot more in charity than the rich. Yeah, the rich might give more in terms of value terms, but in terms of percentage and ratio income, the poor give more money in charity than the rich. And the point I'm trying to make is, they appreciate, when you appreciate something, we understand that as you know how to spend it better. So why do the poor, when they have money, when they understand the value of money, they give it more readily? Yeah, and I'm not talking about buying Gucci or Prada or going to super expensive restaurants. I'm talking about they give it away to more, how would you say, spiritual causes. They give it away in a more, you could say feel-good factor, but it's a type of giving without wanting anything back. Something that only the poor can appreciate. Now ask yourself this, gentlemen. I would also compare it to the youth as well. I think when you appreciate your health, you start using your time and your energy into activities that are more spiritualized, yes. Bear with me. Think about it. When you were sick and infirm, when you were bedridden, that time you were absolutely on your back, out of it. You might have been sick. Or like me, you could have broken your leg and then your other leg. So you were basically crawling around the floor, especially when you're like us and you live alone, for a long periods of time. Long periods of time. And then imagine when you get better, you're able to walk, you're able to walk around. All of a sudden, you're not like doing your old exercise routines. You're not like doing stuff like the exact same timetable and schedule you had just before you got sick. You're doing more spiritual stuff. Think about it. The first thing you do as soon as you're able to leave the house is you appreciate the the scenery. You appreciate the fresh air. You just appreciate the fact that you're able to walk down the street. You're able to walk across the parks, through the woods. You're able to take in the environment. It's not specifically a fitness thing, even though you could go and you could go for a run. You could go to the gym after you've gotten better. But no, you take in a spiritual activity first. As I said, this compares with the wealth, the youth, the wealth. I argue that when you appreciate something, that when you're grateful for a quality, for something in your life, you spend it in a more spiritual manner. Yes. So, what does it have to do with loneliness? Now, a lot of guys are lonely. I know. A lot of guys are lonely. But just like when you're hungry, I mean, if you're hungry, you don't grab the first thing you see and you stick it in your mouth. When you're lonely, you don't run outside and grab the first person and hug them and tell them how much you love them and sit and talk with them and stuff. So, if you want to do that, you know, I'm not condemning that. That could be a good thing to do, but I'm just saying that's not the norm, is it really? But, you know, what is normal anyway? When were we ever normal circles? A normal set of, a normal group within the Manosphere circle. Alright, so, when you're lonely, this came up because I heard a group of men saying that they were bored, or they started talking about boredom. And that got me thinking. I was thinking, you know, I haven't been bored for a very, very long time. And I sort of missed being bored. I started thinking, and I started reminiscing about the times I was bored. The times when you've got more time. You've got the luxury of having so much time and so little to do. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not condemning. If you're bored, I'm not condemning you at all. Like I said, I understand. I've been a youth. I've lived with my parents. You have no money. You've got very limited options. You're confined to a tiny space afforded by whatever tyranny your parents put over you. And your only other option is to go outside in the streets, face your parents' wrath for not coming back on time, and then of course you get stalked by the police, or even get run into the feral gangs of kids that are also trying to alleviate their boredom by probably picking on you. So believe me, I understand boredom can be a thing, but at this age, as a grown man, you're no longer confined by those youthful limitations. And I argue that you have lost appreciation of your loneliness. You're only bored and lonely because you're ungrateful. You're bored and you're lonely because you do not appreciate the blessing that you have right now. All those years you spent crowded by your siblings. If you were like me, you had a big family, lots of brothers and sisters, all cramped into a little, what do you call it in the US? Projects. A little house in the projects. In the UK, we call it a council house. We're given a council house. No more council houses in the UK now, by the way. There's no more projects. They've all been given to, it's all been privatised. But they're given you had to share a room. A lot of us had bunk beds. We had to share a cupboard. And then, of course, after that, you're stuck in a classroom with far too many kids for one teacher. And then if you're not, you're stuck in traffic with hundreds of cars moving at a couple of inches every minute. Or you're surrounded by your two-faced colleagues who pretend to like you, but really can't wait to get away from you. All the time you're wishing you could have your own space. You could have free time to do whatever you want, removed from duty, removed from obligation. Loneliness is a blessing, gentlemen. Loneliness is a wonderful blessing that you're not appreciating right now. And believe me, there's going to be times where you're overcrowded. Loneliness doesn't last. There's going to be times when you're surrounded by people you want to get away from. There's going to be times where you want to remove the mandatory duties that are on your shoulders. The more you appreciate your loneliness now, the more you're going to be able to deal with your busy times. Those times you're overworked. Those times when you start to feel that the world is overcrowded. So, what's my point here? What is my conclusion? My conclusion is you're not utilizing your loneliness properly. And as I always talk about, you must have all heard me say this, it all starts inside. It all starts with your train of thought. First of all, when you appreciate your situation, you can utilize it better. We all talk about leveling up. We all talk about improving ourselves, building inner skills, mental tools, abilities, improving the quality of man that you are. We always talk about that. But that's always going to be difficult if you don't appreciate your situation. If you're always thinking about, I need to be richer, I need to be healthier, I need to be better equipped, you're never going to understand the processes and the procedure for where you need to be going next. Because everything happens step by step. Very few events, very few circumstances happen by, I don't think it is a word, but I think Americans invented it, happenstance. They don't happen by coincidence. Everything happens by stages. Sometimes it's slow, long, laborious, tedious, and sometimes years can happen in just a couple of hours. But it all preludes, it's all a sequence of events and a sequence of actions which all start with your intentions, with your plans, with your thoughts. If you don't have a strong conviction, if you don't have will, if you don't have the willpower, and you don't have the discipline, then normally, you must have heard that cliche, if you don't plan, as something like, if you don't plan, then 80% of what you want to happen fails. And if you plan for 80% of the time, then 20% of the things, something like that, I can't remember. Yeah, but you must have heard that. I won't put too many cliches in this monologue. And that's what I wanted to talk about on my on loneliness. Okay, let's see. Let's see who's saying what. Who's saying what? Who's talking about me? Okay, let's see. Who's saying what? Who's gossiping in the background there? Gruda. I'm also AKA Shining Light. Yes. So yeah, Variety Union is saying his spin on the narrative on the epidemic of lonely, miserable men is that it's the rise of content, happy, stoic, single men choosing to be alone. Yes, I think you get to a point, you get to an age where you appreciate, or you know what to do when you've got your own time. You know how to deal with your timetable, and you do have a timetable. You do have plans. Yeah. Shout out to Orbs. In fact, this
I hope
we've
Element or Lazarus gonna do a hangout for Christmas.
yeah, we're supposed to be doing a hangout for Christmas, brother. I know Element said he was gonna.
A mixture of choice and being shut out.
Yeah. Choice. Sometimes you're not given a choice. Sometimes you have to do things, or the consequences are even worse than not doing it. I think that sounds a bit vague, doesn't it? But I know another thing that popped out, which I think popped up. Another issue that popped up, and I think Orbs might have brought this up about the youth or the very young men that come around here. You know, how do we address the guys, the kids that are still living with their parents? You know, we can't really tell them or give them the same advice that we normally give each other, because they are in a lot more. They have a lot more restrictions upon them than a grown man. You know, they have to follow their parents' rules. Or are you gonna, take them in? You know, you're not gonna teach them to cut away from gynocentric households, especially if they live with a single mother.
Just try to red pill your parents and skin plates in your own
tell them not to put up with any gynocentric gynocentric misandry. It's the same with whatever situation you're in. You have to learn how to play. You have to learn how to play the game and limit your losses and get as much gain as possible. It's like we always talk about the Matrix, and when Morpheus explains to Neo that while he's in the Matrix, every single person, every single individual, all the crowds and groups, all the institutions, they can't know that you can remove yourself from the Matrix, because the Matrix has such control that giving away your position makes you a threat. We don't show all our cards, ever. And we certainly don't show our cards to people that are still in the Matrix. So when we're addressing the youth that are still living with their parents, they have to conceal their position even more so. You make your plans, you build the qualities of the man you're going to be. You make plans, and believe me, no situation, no circumstances is forever. Wherever you are right now, you will not be there forever. Whatever situation, whatever circumstances you are in at the moment, they will not last. I promise you. Things will change. Either you'll get old, you'll move on, you'll find opportunities, you'll make opportunities. Preferably, we'll make our own opportunities, because unless you're building your own path, and I know you guys must have heard me say that I believe in destiny, but I believe that destiny is built. Some things are out of your control, yes, but mostly your life is what you make it. In the sense that you will get only that which you strive for. To a certain extent, you will get a portion of what you plan for, or what you strive for, what you work towards. So, in terms of the youth that come around these circles, we welcome them definitely. We wish we could have addressed our younger selves, warned them of some of the dangers, some of the risks, and the choices that we made, how we could have done better. If we could improve a young man's life, and it's a disaster. Believe me, I know it's a disaster out there. Serious lack of male role models, disastrous idols, and false gods, lies, propaganda, surrounded in a gynocentric sea, ready to drown the folly of the young man. Believe me, it's a disaster out there. Some of the things and I see and hear the young guys do, I dread what their life is going to be like. And I do emphasize, it's some of the things they say and they do, putting themselves out on the line. Really, they do not understand the red pill. They do not understand how much danger they're putting themselves in. You have to understand the game. You have to understand the rules. You have to understand the way they think and the way the Matrix will react to your actions and words. You have to learn the game, guys. Don't be silly and show your cards, because it's a great game. Right. So anyway, yeah, we welcome all men from all nationalities, all religions, atheists, monotheists, young, old. And I was thinking, yeah, a lot of the great contributors to the manosphere have been the more experienced men, but also the men that avoided the meat grinder, that avoided the divorce courts. They've also contributed quite well to our circles. So it's not particularly about men that have been through the meat grinder, even though they would have a lot more to offer in terms of sharing their experiences, in terms of testifying to the destructive nature of the Matrix. It's never been about any nationality as well, because if we gathered together the greatest content creators, I think you'd quickly find there would be a huge mix of ethnicities in there. So, the manosphere does consist of a huge variety of men. So, yeah. I hope that answers the question about how we address the youth. This game appears to have muted my music. Now that.
Are you watching anime or something, bro?
Am I watching anime? Oh no, that's yeah. That's my
The Manosphere started as a gold mine with wisdom and knowledge.
Let me see if I can still play this game. I actually was friends with Wipeout was originally done by a group called Psygnosis. Psygnosis was also linked with Team 17 for a little while, and I was actually friends with one of the original guys of Team 17. He actually lived in my city. Let me just swap.
Yeah, I think
I think what Psygnosis Wipeout has been passed from software house to software house. I'll play a couple of minutes with it. They've muted the music because it's... Oh no, it's on now. Yeah, those of you that have heard of Wipeout, it was big due to the music they used, current artists to compose the music, which of course is, what would you call it? House, garage, what is it? Acid, house, garage, acid. Let me see if I can beat some of these times. Oh, that's not it, is it? Wipeout HP. Look at these global times. The Skiller. There's a guy called Jordan and a guy called Pfizer who are the class A's a bit fast. Total class B. Ultimate. How did we get here? Today's box. Class B. Is it? Groovy music. I don't know what I wanted to do. What did I want to do? I used to be really good at this game. I used to be like top 20. I was like top 20 in the world, by the way, gentlemen, in the world. All my records appear to have been reset. I'm sure it's Racebox, isn't it? Both players. A++. Here we go. So, I got the top score.
Are UK final exams around this time?
No. We've just finished the first. We're just halfway through the first semester. We've got 2 weeks until the end of this first semester. But my course has no exams. It's all assignments, written assignments, essays and reports. Getting wrecked on this one. Storage system, who is it? I'm sure I picked one up. How good is it? Let's go Pfizer.
From what I looked at UK, universities seem to have exams after Christmas break.
If it's a exam-heavy course, yeah, they'll have exams throughout the course. But mostly it will be maths and English, or things that have a quantitative type of teaching. Let's go! I've actually got this on VR, but because my VR is now PS5, it won't let me play this on VR, which, by the way, is excellent. I've switched the microphone because the clicking and banging of the clicking and banging of the joypad will be beautiful.
Rockets. It's not as good as I used to be.
In most colleges in the US, every class is 1 semester.
Wow. We didn't used to call it semester. We used to call it a term in the UK. We never used to call it a semester. We started calling it. We used to have 3 terms for the academic year, but now it's 2 semesters. He's cooking on gas now. Let's give it to him.
Sometimes I play Bullet Force, a good first-person shooter.
I had Bullet Force. I couldn't get into it. I didn't like the controls. It was a bit clunky, I think. Oh my. I'll drain his shield.
You were top 20 in the world.
I was
don't
top
know
20.
about that, bro.
I was top 20. I was Shinobi 391. Top 20 in nearly most of the maps. I was competing with the top of them. There was a guy called Bullet. Guys I compete against. In fact, I had a video out with me getting some of the records. I had a couple of videos of me breaking some of the records. But yeah, but you can race against each other. Just to have the top players on the same map, really. But it's really the records beating the time is where it's at. Have a world-class time. I found a couple of tricks, a couple of shortcuts, which even the top guys haven't found yet. And also, even though they don't realise it, the VR controls are actually better. Having a VR system gives you a slight advantage, a tiny advantage, but enough to get you a second or 2 off, which is really the difference in the top 5. The difference in the top 5 times. It should give me a time. So there. So I've just done a 3:28 on a B class race, and it should put me somewhere in the global record. There you go. 3,684. I need to do a bit better, huh? Well, let's see what my friends are doing. My 11 friends. Wow, look at that. Zarkin's on 315. I'm gonna have to do better. Yeah, sorry about the microphone, by the way. Let's try an A class. I know that's nasty. Subway's alright. Unity Square. Oh, brutal. There's no walls on this. There's no walls on this map. Let's slow it down, actually. Oh, it can only be A. Let's go AG Systems.
AG System speed.
No walls on this track. When you fall off, when you go off the edge of the track, you fall off the track. I'll let you have a little look at it. Really nice though. A lot of fun. Possibly the best racing game ever made. The music is top class because it's mainstream artists Graphics are pretty good on this as well. 60 frames per second. Let's go. The VR on this is amazing. It is really nice. Oh shit! I'm gonna suffer a little bit on this to begin with. Oh shit! Oh, how about that for a trick? Cut right across that one I did. This game is available on all systems. This is just the latest. Oh man, I screwed that one up. This is just the latest incarnation of it. It's actually out on the PS1, PS2. Oh, a Sony exclusive as well.
Shit. Rockets.
Screwed that one up.
I can hear the British voices.
If we don't get enough speed on that round to fall off.
Shit.
I always wonder how the American accent diverged from the British one.
Even in the UK, you get many different accents. If you go to North, you meet people like me with a Yorkshire accent. If you go to the South, you meet people like Messenger, who has a Southern accent. And then to the West, you've got the Geordie accent or the Newcastle accent. Oh no, that's the East. If you go to the East, yeah, you'll have the Geordie accent. Oh! I'm not concentrating there. If you go to the East, that'll be the Geordie accent. And if you go to the West, you'll have the Scouser accent. Yeah, the West is the Scouse accent or the Liverpool accent. And then you've got the Welsh accent. The Welsh actually have their own language in the UK. And it's considered another country. Oh, I did get enough speed. And then of course you've got the Scottish. The Scottish have their accent. And they've got their own language as well. Scottish Gaelic. The Welsh, they call their language Welsh. It's been really badly. My ship's about to go up too. Look how bad that was. Look how bad that was. Yes, so you've got the Scottish accent, Welsh accent. Both of them are considered different countries, by the way. Both have their activists and politicians that are trying to get independence from England. So you've got England, Wales and Scotland, and then you've got Ireland. Northern Ireland, of course, many of you might know, there's I don't know the exact portion. To me, it appears to be something like 60 to 40%. 60% of Northern Ireland want to reunite with Ireland. 40% want to remain under the British flag. But they've got a strong Irish. I actually like the Irish accent. Let me just...
Yeah, I actually... Ireland's got its own problems. I won't go too much into Ireland, but... you'll see a lot of accents, a lot of different accents, even a lot of different takes on English words. Some English words have different meanings in Scotland, Ireland, and Wales. They've got their own slang as well. But yeah, even within England, you've got the Scottish, you've got the Scouse, the Geordie, the Yorkshire, and the Southern accent. I'll say they're the four main distinguishable accents, and they're very noticeable. Very noticeable. In fact, some Americans don't understand the Scottish accent. Just wait until you hear the Scouse accent, where you hear some Geordies talking. It's funny because when people look at me, they don't immediately think me as someone that will recognise all these English, British accents. Not only that, they don't see me as someone that will recognise each region's slang as well. But because I've moved around the UK so often and for so long, and because I'm so old, I do. I probably know it better than most nationalists. I'm laughing because people of my ethnicity really struggle with British accents and British slang. And when I'm watching TikTok and I listen to them trying to interpret some of the British men and women and the British songs and the American songs that come on, and a lot of them, they try to sing some of these songs and they misunderstand and they misinterpret, so they sing the words as they think it sounds. Sorry for laughing. Personal joke. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed my little monologue. I hope I've given you a little insight into this. This game is what can I say? The best racing game ever. You can never ever finish playing this game. There's always a couple of seconds. There's always a half a second. There's always 0.1 of a second you can cut off from your time. I've seen. What can I say? I've been playing this game for what? 20 years now? 25 years almost, and I still love it. I think what they've done with this version as well is excellent. The maps, the details, the creativity, the imagination. The imagination they've just put in these settings. The music's excellent as well. Really suits the tracks. In fact, a couple of these tracks are on my playlist. Really good. But harks back to the time when games were pure imagination, that the game designers, the artists, had a genuine craft. Their design, their imagination and creativity, it really made you not only immersed in the game, but it brought you back to it. It really was a different world, distraction from the tedium of your daily grind. But this game's as old as console gaming in itself. First time I picked this up was at PlayStation 1. Very limited. It wasn't until the second incarnation. It wasn't called Wipeout 2, it was called Wipeout 2097, I believe. 2097. Really good. It really pushed PlayStation, very humble now, PlayStation 1 to its limits. The third one I wasn't a fan of. Fourth one was they kept on churning them out, giving certain consoles and handhelds exclusives, but I think this one is the best version. There's never a better time to buy it than now. I don't think it's ever going to get cheaper than it is now. Personally, I think the physical copies of this are going to run out. I managed to get a physical copy of this. But yeah, the PS4 now is super cheap. Get a copy of Wipeout 97 if you enjoy the game. I don't think it's going to be available on PC or Xbox. The first Wipeout and Wipeout 97 is available on the PC, so you can probably pirate it from somewhere. But the other versions, mind you, on PC, just get an emulator. Get a powerful PC, get a good PSC emulator or whatever version you want. But yeah, I don't know if they got a PS4 emulator on PC. Is that possible now? I know that they're good enough. PCs are powerful enough to emulate arcade boards. You think they'd emulate a PS4?
There isn't a PS4 emulator.
I didn't think so. PS4s are super cheap. What is it, $100 now? I've seen them for $50. PS4 for $50. Get PS4, $50. Get this game, $10. You get top. Oh, look at that! Even the AI fell off.
But it only boots to title screens.
Well, that's no good, is it? Title screens, not very helpful. But I'm trying to think of the second best racing game. I don't think too much of the Forza Horizon series. It's a very relaxing game, is Forza Horizon. It's superb graphics, but
Gran Turismo
is okay, but it's too generic, I think, Gran Turismo. I had the VR version of... I know Gran Turismo 7's come out. I had the previous one, I think it was called Gran Turismo Sport, and I had the VR version. On VR it's nice, of course, being a AAA game. Getting the VR version is nice, but I couldn't get into Gran Turismo. There was no urgency in it. Forza Horizon is a great relaxing game. You just drive around the map for hours on end. But like I said, there's no urgency. On this game, you feel like you absolutely must. You feel like your life depends upon the game. Especially when you're playing some of the top players. I don't know where they are now, but yeah, one was called XXX Jordan XXX. The one was called Pfizer 2097, I think. There was an American. I know he was American. He was from Texas. A guy called Bullets something or the other. I don't know where they are now, but I know they used to see me around the tracks. But yeah, anyway, I think that's it for today, guys. I hope to see you before too long. If not, I'll see you guys at the Christmas or New Year's casts. I'll try and get Messenger to put his thinking head on, and we'll go really deep into some of our current and past discussions. There is a lot to discuss, actually, seeing as we only get together in complete circles like once or twice a year now. It would be interesting to get the experience, the wisdom and the knowledge of the entire group on some of the points I pose. So I do hope to see you guys sooner rather than later. Hope you enjoyed my evaluation of this game. Again, must be emphasised, a British game, very British, 100% 100% British made game. This, but not to say there's anything wrong with the Americans' games. not to say one nationality is better than another, but it's just very rare to see a British game now. So anyway, take care, guys. Don't let things get you down. Remember, all goals, all plans have hiccups. We all have bumps on the road. If one path leads to a dead end, don't be too proud to reverse and get back on track. As they say, it's not how hard you hit, it's how hard you can get hit and keep moving on.